His style might not be textbook. Some might even describe it as awkward. But Jakob Butturff has his own way of doing things, and it's working. Last week, Butturff was the #1 seed in Texas at the PBA Hall of Fame Classic. Now, 7 days later, he once again leads the pack as the top seed in today's PBA Oklahoma Open. But can Butturff triumph over a field that includes 2 major champions in Barrett and Jesper Svensson? Find out next with us on FS1. Standing room only crowd here in Shawnee as we welcome you to the Sooner State for the second Pro Bowlers Tour event of the season. It is the Oklahoma Open, and history very well may be rolled for you today. Just 26 times on national television has there been a 300 game. We had 11 perfect games in qualifying alone this week. High scoring will certainly be a theme today. Glad you're with us, Rob Stone, the Hall of Famer, Randy Peterson with you. 4 countries represented in our 5 finalists, and one of those finalists becoming quite the regular at the #1 spot for the 3rd straight tournament. 24-year-old two-hand left-hander Jakob Butturff sits in that fabled catbird seat, my friend.
Yeah, and he joins elite company this week, Rob, as he becomes just the 4th player to lead 3 consecutive events. The other 3, all legends. Earl Anthony, Johnny Petraglia, and the great Walter Ray Williams Jr. But none of those players, Rob, ever lost when they led 3 consecutive events.
All right, so we start with the positive, but we have to reflect back on what happened last week in Arlington, Texas, and a couple shots that are still floating in Butturff's brain.
Well, last week he missed not 1 but 2 easy spares, which ultimately cost him the title, as you see him cherry the 4-7. Spares that are converted over 93% of the time by professionals.
But that frustration quickly pivoted to self-deprecation. Yeah, he went with the bird box image out there to make fun of his spare shooting on the day. Well done, Jakob. And here he is with Kimberly Pressler.
Thanks, guys. So, Jakob, we just saw you making fun of yourself from last week. After that disappointing loss, you bounced back pretty quick, even making fun of yourself on social media like you just saw. So how important is it for you and for everybody else here to just push behind the mistakes and move forward?
Well, you have to, especially with how short of a tournament goes by. Like, you just got to move on immediately, because if you let that drag, it's just going to be a complete downfall.
Now, you've been the #1 seed 3 shows in a row, but yesterday in our interviews, you called it the #1 seed curse. So why is that?
It's just a couple of bad shows. I obviously haven't the best record on TV, but I feel like I'm looking back and, hearing the greats, Walter Ray, Earl Anthony, lead a bunch of tournaments, and hopefully I can carry that and come away with the win today.
Well, you have a few matches to wait, so we'll be seeing you in the finals. Until then, guys.
All right, Kimberly, thank you. I love how he's handling that setback and making it into a positive. So he's got a lot to sit down and wait for a while for match #1. Barrett, who's a little bit preoccupied. I'll tell you why in a moment, taking on Daugherty. Jesper Svensson in his 2nd straight televised appearance in the 3 spot. The Canadian, I really like this guy, Girard, and the #2 spot. And there is the American Butturff waiting for them all. We take a look at our oil pattern today, and it has produced a lot of strikes and a lot of high scores. Why?
Well, the Mark Roth 42-foot oil pattern is designed for high scores, and you can see just by the lane graph on the right lane that it's a lot drier to the outside part of the lane. You've got oil towards the middle. The blue oil is going to illustrate that throughout the telecast today. But anytime you give top professionals area left and right of target, you're going to have big scores. Not to mention the pin carry in this building, very good.
Up first, your 5 seed, Daugherty from Riverview, Florida, just outside the Tampa Bay area. Working at Oakfield Lanes in Brandon, Florida right now. That's how you start, Tom.
And strike track on the right lane showing just how straight Daugherty is going with the urethane bowling ball that he is using. We'll talk more about the difference between urethane cover stocks and reactive cover stocks a little later.
7 tour titles for the Colchester, England native, Dom Barrett. He's going to be heading home tomorrow back to England to see his baby boy Colby. We open up with back-to-back jacks.
And there's that good pin carry I just mentioned. The 6-pin going to the sidewall and slapping the 10 out for Dom Barrett. Second pin to your right, sidewall. And now the 10-pin needs reconstructive surgery.
We talked about the pattern this week with all the bowlers, and they said the pattern was soft. There was more, quote, bounce. What do they mean by bounce?
More recovery to the outside of the target. So when players right or left-handed miss to the outside of the target, there's more friction. The ball curves back to the pocket.
We told you to expect a lot of strikes and some high scoring. We're getting backed up early through 1.5 frames.
Tom Daugherty is using reactive on the right lane and urethane on the left lane to start.
Come on, 10.
Ooh.
You talk about the 2 different balls on the 2 different lanes.
Terrible
Is that
shot.
fairly unique for him or for the pros on the tour?
No, this is what makes the pros so good, is that they're able to create the shapes that they want to create by using different bowling balls.
Misses it. 95% of the time, the tours drop the single pin 10 spare. We saw spare misses ravaging Butturff last week in the championship match, and Tom now with an open frame in the second. And now he's got to step right back up, Randy.
Slow down.
Slow himself down on that left lane as we start the third. What'd you see?
I see a big ugly split. 3-6 or 3-4-6-7-10. Tom Daugherty looked like he may have gotten just a little bit soft. He's going to try to get his ball over into this part here and throw the 3 into the 4-7.
Yeah, there's the conversion percentage, 16%. Back to back open frames as Tom D takes a seat.
And a disastrous start, especially when you have high scores like we've had all week.
So Dom Barrett, strike, qualified 4th with that average of just over 241, 8-8 in match play. Looking for his 8th career tour title. Opening triple for Barrett. Take a look at our PBA playoff point standings, the top 24. That's what you want to be in come April 1st. That moves you on to the playoffs right now. Bill O'Neill with the win last week in Arlington is in first place. Next week he's on the double show with Jason Belmonte, a chance to add to those numbers. The big nasty Wes Malott sitting there at number 12. And the cutoff right there at 24. You know how I like to open the show, Randy?
I do.
Sure, I
With
did.
an opening ham bone for Barrett. That's a great start. So as great as Barrett's start has been, it has been the polar opposite for Daugherty. Strike, open frame, open frame. Here he is in the 4th, on the right lane.
Hey, Rob, if I miss this one, you have to leave the booth.
Okay, he's calling me out, and for good reason. That's legit call out. We're going to tell you why in our next segment. Tom, I'm just hoping you break 100 before we go to commercial, and I don't think it's going to happen. You're laughing because you know why he's calling me out, don't you? How about you just hit the 10-pin, Tom? There we go, Tom!
That's why you make my job so easy.
Oh, man, it is so good. Look, Tom did not have, I'm going to put it mildly, I'm not going to give it away. He did not have a good game the last time I saw him on television.
It was his first time on television.
Yes, it was a historically bad game, and he's blaming me. And that's all right. I'll take the heat for it.
Well, that graphic just gave it away.
Yep. Daugherty down 55 in the fifth. There we go, Tom! Get back on the strike train, kid.
Again, with this soft pattern, it's too hard to play catch-up, especially with back-to-back opens. As you see, Dom Barrett's arsenal, precision solid. And that hook rating, 9.5, he's basically saying that in his arsenal, that is the strongest bowling ball that he has at his disposal, working on 4 in a row.
Opening 5 for Dom Barrett.
Well, it looks like he's just been perfect on that lane. As you see, strike track, just kind of every shot mirroring one another. Ball speed has been absolutely spot on. 18.6, 18.5, 18.7.
Should Dom or any other bowler on today's show roll a perfect game, everyone in America can receive a free game of bowling, Randy, courtesy of Go Bowling, and the streak continues. To claim your free game, simply head to GoBowling.com and register for the Go Bowling Free America promotion. Dom has been perfect through 6. But when we return, history of the low kind for Tom Daugherty. We're going to reflect on a bizarre match in Vegas next. PBA on Fox is sponsored by Go Bowling. For promotional offers, tips to improve your game, news, or to locate a bowling center near you, log on to GoBowling.com. That was a painful commercial break for our good friend Tom Daugherty, sitting there after open frames in the second and third, and he's probably having flashbacks to the last time you and I at least saw him on television, the TOC, January 2011. His first time on television taking on Mika Koivuniemi. The struggles were real that day. The battle for Tom was just to get to 100, which he just barely did. The lowest score ever on television, but it was a full-on celebration.
Yeah.
That whole house, you, me, everybody was absolutely cheering on Tom to get to that number. He turned a nasty negative into an immense positive. He still gets fan mail from coaches, youth people telling him, thank you for showing the spirit of the game, the true sportsmanship. Daugherty steps up to the 6th. Boy, that 10-pin has been nasty to him.
Well, to go along with the back-to-back open frames, how about back-to-back ring 10s on the right lane for Tom, as nothing is going his way right now.
Takes care of the spare, though. All right, Randy, here's today's track technique as Tom is down 75 as we enter the 7th.
Bowling ball on the right, urethane. Bowling ball on the left, reactive resin. What's the difference? Well, the difference is in the cover stock. Reactive resin and urethane react completely different. There's a urethane shot going down the lane. Here's reactive resin, and you could see just by the tracer on how much deeper he is with the reactive ball, how much more ground he covers. That's urethane. Now, folks at home, I want you to think of the 2 different bowling balls as tires. Urethane is a racing slick. Reactive resin is an all-terrain tire.
Well, whatever has been on the car of Dom Barrett, his wheels have been working. He has rolled through this match, 6 strikes away from perfection. His effort in the 7th. Yeah, keep it going, Dom.
Dom Barrett using reactive resin. You could see the change of direction and the shape and the motion down lane. Much more traction with reactive resin cover stock. And so a lot of people say, well, why do the players use urethane? And the reason why is because it's so much more predictable. And players use it when they want to go straighter. On this pattern, however, you could use anything and strike on it.
Come on, 10-pin. Man, Dom had one 300 game this week. Came in match play round 1. It was one of 11 through qualifying. My guess, Randall, this will not be the lone flirtation with a perfect game today here on FS1. So an 84-pin lead over Tom Daugherty. Tom kind of sealed his fate in the second and third with open frames. Lacks the 10-pin that time. All right, how about some good news for Tom?
Yeah.
You know what it is, don't you?
I do.
He got some great news over the holidays. His son, Cody, said, Dad, you're going to be a grandpa in mid-May. So Grandpa Tom up in the 9th through the nose. Yeah.
It's okay. Relax.
He's over 100. Everything's okay, guys. He's looking at me. I see you, Tom.
Love you, buddy. Go back to soccer, please.
Oh, my goodness. It's so good to be back on the tour, Randy.
I got to tell you, though, Tom did well just to make it here. He went back-to-back 279 games to close and get in. To start the last round, he was 260 pins out of the cup.
Yeah, he was in 11th place after match play 1, shot up 6 spots to get on the show. Dom was flirting with the perfect game. Nothing but strikes through 7, a spare in the 8th. Here he is in the 9th.
Oh, boy.
But this is the juncture in a game with that type of lead, Randy, where maybe you're going to do some experimenting, check some things out.
I'm a little, yes, but I'm a little surprised that ball didn't get back from there. I don't know if he missed it off his hand, but the one thing that the players had was mistake area to the outside part of the lane. He wasn't trying to make that. He went to a different ball to see what kind of shape he would have for his next match against the Iceman, Jesper Svensson. And can I make another point? So it's back-to-back soft 10s on the left lane, and that's the lane that Daugherty was using urethane. Urethane cover stocks don't absorb oil, it pushes oil down the lane. Reactive resin absorbs oil. So watch the left lane get tighter and tighter as the matches progress, and we've already seen it with the last 2 shots Dom Barrett has thrown on that lane.
So Dom down with the 245. He will move on to match number 2. See Tom finish strong. Tom's been ready to get out of this building for the last 10 minutes, huh?
Yeah, and safe to say you're probably not going to get anything for your birthday?
Nope. Nope.
From Tom?
Nothing. Arbor Day, Teacher Appreciation Day.
Zilch, nada.
Nuh-uh. I mean, he knows I'm not to blame, right? Right, Randy?
I'm not sure he knows that. Yeah.
Just real quick, while that graphic is up, you see that slash underneath Daugherty and then a blank slash. Those are the re-racks that they have left. Tom had used one. There we go. There we go, Tom. You know what's better than a 100, Tom? A 162. All right, so you pack the bags, head home. Dom Barrett moves on to match number 2. Last week, Jesper Svensson finished 4th in the season opener. Can he top it today? Pretty good little Sunday shaping up here on Fox and FS1. The NFC Divisional Playoffs continue today on Fox. Nick Foles, man, tries to keep the Eagles' incredible run back to the Super Bowl alive. They take on Drew Brees and the Saints. It's all today, 4 Eastern, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Who do you like?
All right, here's how our competitors made it onto today's show with our Flow Bowling Tournament highlights. Randy, let's start with Jason Belmonte taking on Tom Daugherty in the final position round game.
Belmonte got off to a red-hot start with the front 7 strikes in a row, but Tom Daugherty started with the front 8. Ringing 10 for Belmonte opens the door for Daugherty, who promptly slams it in Belmonte's face, striking out to shoot .279 to grab the 5th and final spot on today's show. Our other matchup, E.J. Tackett taking on Nick Pate, bowling on the tough pair of 15 and 16. Neither player could manage a 200 game, which allowed Daugherty to leapfrog both players.
Dom Barrett, he fell short in his matchup with Jesper Svensson, so Barrett in the 4 spot, Svensson in the 3rd. And our new good friend, the Canadian Patrick Girard, he shot .267 in his position round game, doing the number crunching. Yes, Patrick, you are in 2nd place, but everybody looking up at Jakob Butturff. Locked up the #1 seed for the 3rd straight tournament, Randy.
And the trend we're seeing, Rob, lots of power, and it's going to be no different on today's show.
And Randy, we started with the field of 96. He was cut down to 24. Here's your other finishers. Elmo just missing out, as we mentioned. Ditto for E.J. Tackett. Zach Wilkins, the Canadian, at number 15. You'll see him next week on our doubles show.
How about Norm Duke? Make him the cut, finishing 12th. He's only 56.
Still getting it done. 245. 162 was the score from your last match. 4 seed Dom Barrett moves on to match number 2, where he'll take on the Swede, Jesper Svensson. Here's your strike track game summary, Randy. What did you see in our opening match?
Well, look at the big difference in the cone here for Tom Daugherty, and that's just because he was using 2 different bowling balls. But the big number right here is the difference between using a thumb and not using your thumb. You can see how much higher the rev rate is for Tom Daugherty.
Jesper Svensson taking a seat right now, checking things out. He has won in Thailand. He's won in Germany. He's won in Bahrain. He's even won here in Shawnee before. Now the 23-year-old looks for his 2nd win in the Sooner State, the TOC in 2016. He won it to become the youngest to ever win a major at the age of 20.
We talked about urethane and what Tom Daugherty does with it. This is this man's specialty. He travels with about 10 different urethane bowling balls with him. He likes to go straight, and he has so much power. The only way he can do that is by using urethane. But when he gets to striking, I'm not sure anybody else on tour can strike and keep up with Jesper Svensson.
Talked about the gluttony of 300 games this week through qualifying. Every time Svensson steps up, he is capable of dropping perfection. Svensson and Barrett coming your way next. The Iceman cometh. The Iceman arrives in Oklahoma. It's an international showdown. Sweden and Svensson versus Barrett and England. Jesper Svensson finished 4th in the season opening PBA Hall of Fame Classic last week, set to take on Dom Barrett in our 2nd match. Barrett rode the opening 7 frames with perfection as he took care of Tom Daugherty in our opening match, 245 at 162. Up next, the Iceman, Jesper Svensson. Here's your Ebonite flashback. Takes us back 30 years to the 1989 Seagram's Coolers U.S. Open, right? You know you're going back. Seagram's Coolers was the sponsor. It happened in nearby Edmond, Oklahoma. Mike Albee as the 2 seed won a low-scoring title match, Randy, 195-178.
Yeah, it took on Jimmy Pensick, and I remember because I was at this event at Boulevard Bowl in Edmond, Oklahoma. But Albee was just, it looked like from start to finish it was going to be Albee's time.
Ended up being his third career major title, $100,000 first place check at the time. That was the richest prize in professional bowling. Do they even make Seagram's coolers anymore?
I don't know.
Maybe?
Maybe.
California cooler? Remember those?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're showing our age. Dom Barrett, 33 years old, from Colchester, England. On the left lane.
Whoops.
And from one U.S. Open winner and Mike Albee to another, that man right there.
He was a 4 seed at the 2018 U.S. Open in Wichita, climbed the ladder. Who did he take care of in the championship match? Today's #1 seed.
Yeah.
Jakob Butturff.
By a pin.
There's your conversion rate on the 8-pin, about 96% by the pros. Dom cleans that one up. Not the start he wanted. Remember, he started his opening match with 7 straight strikes. Here's our first look today at Jesper Svensson. Winter is coming. Two-handed power from the left side, blows up that rack.
He looks like he's got some frost kind of stuck in his goatee, like he just came out of a blizzard.
Yeah, he's got some bark in his teeth that he needs to floss out. He's got a rabbit pelt around his neck.
That he made.
Yeah, he didn't drive here. He put on the snowshoes and walked through the night. The White Walker. That is Jesper Svensson from Gothenburg, Sweden.
You see his arsenal, fever pitch and or pitch black, both urethane.
Bang, back-to-back jacks.
And Jesper may want to be a little careful because Dom Barrett is actually his ride to the airport tonight as both players head back to Europe.
Who told you that?
Stu Williams.
It's a great tidbit from Stu.
I've got my sources.
Two majors to go in his 7 career tour titles. Looking for #8 today here in Shawnee. Oh, wow, wow, wow. As good as the opening match started for Barrett, this is not at all what we anticipated from him.
Yeah, this is ugly. The 3-4, 7-10. He's going to try to get his bowling ball right into this spot here, like he's trying to make the 3-10 and throw the 3 over into the 4. And that's the problem with that. When you go for it and you miss that 3-pin, you lose count as well.
So in the opening match, Dom Barrett benefited from a pair of open frames from Tom Daugherty. Now Svensson looks like to be the benefactor of an open frame here from Dom Barrett as we begin the 3rd, and Dom already down 27 pins. What's going on here, Randy?
He's lost his ball reaction, and I think a little bit of that was urethane being used by Daugherty on the left lane. The right lane seems to have transitioned to where it's hooking more, so Dom needs to move in, parallel his lines in on the right, and move in on the left and stay soft.
We saw him kind of playing with the balls, playing with the lanes, and another open frame as he closed out that opening match. And he is lost right now. 32 after 3 frames as he takes a seat. Oh, that is unexpected. On the flip side, we completely expected an opening pair from Svensson, looking for a 3-bagger and to extend his lead. Well, somebody who can sympathize with Dom's struggles here is the man he beat in the opening match, Tom Daugherty, standing by live with Kimberly.
I think Tom definitely can sympathize with what's happening out there with Dom right now. But Tom, I have to ask you, the last time that Rob was calling a show, you got a 100, and today you got a 162. So the big question is this all Rob Stone's fault?
100% is Rob's fault. My girls, Cameron, Casey, and Courtney, they're back home watching, and they said I told them Rob Stone was doing the show, and they just shook their head, and they're like, oh, my goodness, this is going to be another bad one. So it's Rob's fault 100%. That's how I'm taking it.
All right. Thank you so much for being a good sport out there.
I can't believe he dragged the girls into it. Right, Tom? Just walk away. It's one-on-one. It's you and me, pal.
I'm just glad it's you and not me this time.
By the way, did you see what Jesper just did?
Tell me.
Dropped a 4-bagger. Leads at 58. Ball change now for Dom Barrett. A calmer, less aggressive ball he uses. My goodness.
Something that's a little bit cleaner, though, is also going to react stronger on the back part of the lane, and that's what we saw with that ball reaction.
He needed a marker just to stop the bleeding. Last year's the 4 seed. Dom worked his way up the step ladder to win his second major. Gets a strike there in the 5th, but he's going to need a whole lot more of those, and he's going to need the Iceman to melt here if he's going to move on. Svensson's going to take a re-rack here, and our bug showing one of those re-racks just disappearing. So Svensson 1 re-rack left. Dom has 2. The lead at 58. Why a re-rack at that juncture?
He didn't like the setup of the pins. Something was off spot. Look how accurate he's been on this lane.
Get down!
Well, you can see by strike track there that the red line was a little bit inside of where he's been on that lane, and that's the reason the ball drifted a little bit high, but he gets the great break in tripping the 6. Unique, unusual style, the two-handed delivery. And there's the revolutions in rotation, and there's the trip 6. Yeah, that's a lot of reaction for Jesper.
So the opening streak stops at 5. There will be no free bowling games for you, America. Not until maybe our next match.
This time no trip 6 for Jesper, as that was pretty much an identical hit that he had on the right lane. Jesper can make this with his eyes closed. 97.5% conversion rate.
So that's the tour average, and he does drop it. He can max out at 279. Dom can only get to 232. Svensson is this close to moving on to our 3rd match, the conclusion of Svensson, the Iceman cometh, and Dom Barrett, when our live coverage here on FS1 returns. Rob Stone, Randy Peterson, Kimberly Pressler back here with you live for our continuing coverage of the PBA Oklahoma Open, the 2nd event of the season. And Jesper Svensson from Sweden in his 2nd consecutive show. He's got a huge early lead right now on Dom Barrett. It sits at 67 pins. Remember, Barrett a commanding performance in match number 1, taking care of Tom Daugherty by 83 pins. Eagles Saints a little bit later today, 4 Eastern on Fox. Glad you're with us for the PBA on FS1.
Probably worse. All right.
First pair of strikes for Dom here in match 2.
Well, it's all about ball reaction or lack thereof, and his certainly has changed. One of the things that made the score so high this week was that when the lanes transition, it was a very easy move for the players. They would literally just parallel in, meaning they would move their feet and their target about the same amount of boards. I'm sure that that's the first thing that Dom tried. It didn't work. All of a sudden now it's like, what do I do?
For Dom, looks like something might be working now. Kimberly?
Guys, I saw Dom talking to his ball rep, Mike Snellmaker, during the break. So I asked Mike what they talked about, and he said that they were actually talking about the Dallas Cowboys getting run over yesterday and the soccer scores. And I said, so no bowling talk? And he said, nope. Dom has a plan. He made a ball change, and now he's just ready to throw some strikes and catch up.
More on that soccer score, Kimberly, in a second. I know what he's talking about. Svensson leaves the 7 pin.
I mean, just look how accurate he is, not only at the arrows, but at the break point, as those magnifying circles give us a close-up of where he is, playing just inside a second arrow, right around 12, 13 board.
Spares for Svensson. The hefty lead he had starting to be diminished, but it's still at 46. Dom, maybe a little preoccupied over there. He's keeping an eye. Look, number one, he's focused on his profession. But during the commercial breaks, twice he has flashed a phone in front of my face, showing me the score of Manchester United and Tottenham. He is a big Red Devil supporter. He's heading back home tomorrow. He's going to be heading to the back after this game, the way things are going right now. Svensson back on the strike train, his 6th overall strike. He can max out at 268. Dom can do no better than 232.
Dom's only chance is if he strikes out, and then he has to hope for an open frame by Jesper.
All right, so a ham bone midway through this match gives Dom some life.
He's definitely migrated in, as you can see by strike track. One of the things I love about Dom Barrett's game is that it's just so simple and he creates the power effortlessly, but he's also very creative in seeing shapes and creating those shapes with his talent, his ability.
Down 36 as we begin the 9th. Straight now for Dom.
Well, he's definitely migrated more towards the center part of the lane to pick up some fresh oil. Jesper Svensson needs good count and marks in the 9th and 10th frame, and he will advance.
Svensson with the 5th best all-time television average, almost at 228. He's on pace for a 268 if he's perfect. The perfection continues. A strike there now in the 9th.
Well, I made no secret about it last week. My spirit animal in his two-handed, left-handed style. And look at the follow-through going pretty much over his right shoulder. But this bowling ball goes through the pins like a snow plow running over little snowmen.
He's headed back to Sweden. He's going to do some bowling back home. Here's your Columbia 300 fun fact. First PBA Tour event contested here in the state of Oklahoma, the 62 Coca-Cola Open at Lincoln Lanes in nearby Oklahoma City, won by Tom Hennessy.
Yeah.
And another strike.
Game over. $13.5 at the arrows, 9 at the break point. What's the break point? That's the end of the oil pattern where the ball starts to change direction. And the late great Billy Whaley once said about that hit there, Rob, hit him thin and watch him spin.
That's a great quote, isn't it?
Love it. He sure is fun to watch,
Man, isn't he? So he is off to match number 3, 1 win away from the title match. He finished 4th last week in our season opening PBA Hall of Fame Classic down in Arlington, Texas.
It's on the way.
Seven pin away from 5 strikes to close. That's right, you two will be seeing each other a little bit later today.
Yeah, I think Dom's too good of a guy to not give Jesper
Not give Jesper the ride to the airport.
Right. See how he's going to Sweden.
Wouldn't it be
Dom's going
great?
to England.
Wouldn't it be great for Jesper to get in that cold parking lot in Shawnee? Like, hello? Where's that, hello? Dom?
He gets the late text. Hey, Jesper.
Bad break.
Can you spell Uber?
How do you say Uber in Swedish? Uber? So Svensson, a 267. He is off to your next match to take on Patrick Girard from Jonquière, Quebec, Canada. Hope I said all of those correctly.
Sounded good to me.
267, 231, your final, a 36-pin win for Jesper Svensson. So he moves on. Up next, he's going to take on a Canadian Randy looking to snap his 0-for record on television. Standing room only crowd here at Firelake Bowling Center in Shawnee, Oklahoma, just outside Oklahoma City. Our live coverage of the 2019 PBA Oklahoma Open rolls on. Up next, your third match. Svensson rolling through Dom Barrett with the highest score of the day so far at 267 to Dom's 231. Up next for him, the Canadian Patrick Girard. Next week, the PBA pros have each other's backs, Randy, as they compete in one of the most anticipated events on the tour. It's your Mark Roth, Marshall Holman PBA Doubles Championship. It's twice the action and double the drama as rivals become teammates. Next Sunday, 1 Eastern here on FS1. And look who's in the house today. A couple absolute legends, Mark Roth and Marshall Holman taking in the activities.
Two of the greatest ever, and I think it's only fitting that the event be named after those two gentlemen. I grew up idolizing both of those players, and a standing ovation here in Oklahoma.
Beautiful. Love it. Respect the game of those two legends. All right, now match 3. Here's our first look at Patrick Girard from Jonquière, Quebec, an hour-and-a-half north of Quebec City. Not only does he have 0 PBA Tour titles, he's never even won a PBA regional event either. That's how you started, Patrick.
I'll tell you what he does have, though. He has an affinity for this oil pattern because he can stand left, throw right, and really wrench on it at the bottom of the swing. And what I mean by wrench on it, get after it, create a lot of power.
Svensson's got some power in his bag as well, my friend. Second straight week on television is Svensson, former Rookie of the Year back in 15.
This thing right here, this big number, that 570 rev rate, approaching close to 600. Tour average is probably around 430, 440.
Svensson led the first 2 rounds of qualifying. Finished as your 3 seed. Remember, he was 4th last week. Quite a start for the Swede.
Damn, that's bad. Oh, man.
Well, I think he threw that bad. That's what he's referring to. Just a little bit high, leaving the 6-pin.
PBA Tour spare conversion average on the 6-pin at 97.5%. See his average en route to qualifying 2nd. Not a lot of TV time in his bag. 0-3 on television. His best finish ever, 3rd. He's never made a final. Left the 10-pin there.
Well, he's inside and opening this pattern up. As you take a look at how Patrick Girard creates the power, it's very similar to Don Barrett with the bent elbow, the cupped wrist, and then kind of uncorking it into the lane, kind of like throwing a yo-yo, and just leaves that little soft head.
Yeah, he thought he had it, didn't he? 95% conversion rate for the single pin 10. Skinny jeans were put on, but he kicked it into the back. Yeah, ooh la la. Mon Dieu, mon Dieu.
Yep.
Yep. Got it, man. Got it. Dance away, baby.
That'll loosen him up. Speaking of loose, you know what he does in his spare time?
I do. He fancies himself a little karaoke, doesn't he?
Yeah, and rumor has it, he's got a voice that can make a Wolverine purr.
Ooh, well done, Ron Burgundy.
Come on, get it. Messenger in front. Oh, so far so good though. 3 shots in the pocket, and just a little issue with the 10-pin. Although it wasn't all that difficult to hit the pocket this week on the 42-foot Mark Roth oil pattern. Look at his rev rate up at the top there, 480 compared to Jesper Svensson's 570. Patrick Girard gets on it.
Girard, a 2-time member of Team Canada, 2012, 2013, handles 10-pin in. Surveys the crowd. What a warm smile he's got. Really enjoyed our time talking with him yesterday. Oh, he's walking himself out now. A little conversation. Some conversation with his ball reps right now to talk about maybe making a quick adjustment. And this is the time to do it before things start slipping away from you. He started with strike, then it's been spare, spare. Svensson also started with the strike. Spare in the 2nd. Here he is closing out the 3rd. But you can't let Svensson run too far away from you. Don Barrett learned that lesson in the last match.
Don made a nice comeback to get it to be respectable, finishing with a bunch and ending with 231 after the 2 open frames early. But Jesper Svensson got out ahead and stayed ahead, and hard to beat 260s on television. Let's see if he can make a better shot on this left lane. This ball goes through the pin so hard, it almost looks like it creates a vortex and just sucks the pins right off the pin deck.
And, you know, that's slow motion replay, and that whip is still so fast, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Svensson takes a seat. Girard is up, close out the fourth down. 11 gets them all to drop. Très bien.
Bowles just part-time out here. Most of his time spent managing a bowling center and a pro shop back home.
Salon des Quais Center in his hometown of Jonquière. In case you haven't noticed, I enjoy saying
I was just going to say,
Jonquière.
you love saying that.
Get down!
Well, that ball looked like it was way left, and it kind of hydroplaned in the oil, and he ends up leaving the shaker 4.
That's pretty close there.
Part-timer on the tour, as you mentioned, Randy, over the course of the last 6 to 7 years. He became a member in 2003, made 2 shows in 05, 1 last year. Get it, get it.
Great shooter.
Svensson in our last match took care of Dom Barrett, 267-231. Here's Dom live with Kimberly.
Thanks, Rob. So, Dom, what happened between match 1 and 2?
Well, kind of what happened between me and Tom happened, like Jesper did that to me. So I got off to a really good start against Tom. Jesper got off to a great start against me, and I struggled. So the scoring pace this high, you can't really do that. You get behind and you actually get maxed out. You can't catch up enough pins. It's mathematically impossible. So that kind of happened, and then you just have to hope your opponent makes mistakes, and Jesper's so good he doesn't really make any, and that was it.
Well, the good part is you're now going to make your flight back home and you get to go see your son and your wife, right?
Certainly do, yes. So I'll have that long flight home with no sleep, and then go and look after my wife and baby with no sleep too.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, guys. We'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Kimberly. Big fan of Dom Barrett. Jesper Svensson had 9 strikes in the last match, has 4 already here. He's got 3 in a row. You know what that means if he strikes here. Ben! Swedish for Hambone, Randall! Skinka Ben! One more time. Skinka Ben for Svensson! I've been holding that in my back pocket for a while. I had to unload that. Svensson, after the Skinka Ben, discusses things with his ball reps, and Svensson in control right now. Can Girard flip his way back into this one? The conclusion when we return. Rob, Randy, Kimberly, welcome you back to the 2019 PBA Oklahoma Open live on FS1. Head on over to PBA.com right now to check out the latest PBA Bowling Challenge mobile game for your iPhone, iPad, and Android devices. More than 23 million people, Randy, have downloaded this popular game. Constantly updated, new ball options, venues, competitions, challenges, features in-game rewards as well. Just click on the PBA Bowling Challenge mobile game link over at PBA.com to get started today as we take a look at our Strike Track game summary.
The biggest numbers that jump out at me, again, are the rev rates by the two-handers. You can see the big difference. And Patrick Girard's a high rev rate guy, but I think what's enabling Jesper to get off to this great start is look at how much smoother his entry angle is into the pocket. You can see much sharper in the back part of the lane for Girard, and I think that's been the difference in carry thus far.
Girard, as we mentioned, a part-time pro. He bowls league, Randy, Monday and Thursday nights back home in Jonquière, Quebec. Can he pull off a Gretzky-esque comeback here and move on to the final match. Svensson up 31. Here's Girard. Needed that one. Came at a really good time for the Canadian. Yeah. Lock and load, baby.
Well, you see that reaction, and that's typical of this oil pattern and how soft it is. As he misses this off his hand, and he's like, uh-oh. And the ball just laid there. You heard, you mentioned it earlier, how he bowls league a couple times a week, and this is very similar
Pattern.
in terms of a professional pattern. This is about as close as we get to a league shot.
It's funny, Patrick said this to us. It's very similar to bowling league with the pressure added being on national television. Dirty 10-pin.
Look at the two different break points right here. That one was inside.
He needed that, Randy.
Yeah, he did. It laid in the oil a little too long, and again, just comes up a little late into the pocket, leaving that 10-pin. And a lot of this is looking a little like our last match where Jesper Svensson gets off to that fast start and never went back.
Just 3 strikes and 9 spares here for Girard in match number 3. He's down 31, and Svensson set to take over in the 5th. The Iceman cometh, steps up, looking for 5 in a row. And Kimberly, Svensson had a little conversation during the commercial break with his ball reps.
He sure did. He was talking to his ball rep, Jim Callahan, and when I asked Jim what advice he gave Jesper, he said he told him to make sure to stick to his process and do the same thing each and every shot. And if he does that, he thinks he's got a great opportunity to win.
Well, in every sport, I mean, it's all about preparation. Pre-shot routine in our sport's vital, and it helps keep you in the right mindset as well.
And he strikes me as an athlete, Randy, that doesn't experience the highs or the lows. He keeps himself pretty much right in a nice central pocket, mentally, physically. He goes through his routine after every shot. You know, he was on the TV show last week. We asked him, hey, did you do anything different this week? No. They do the same. Yeah. You looking forward to going back to Sweden? Yeah, I am. I'm going to go bowl in Sweden. Just a good, even-tempered guy to be around.
Yeah, he sure appears that way on the outside.
Correct.
What's going on internally is hard to say, but I would probably agree that he's pretty level.
Need this game? No.
I think he's asking for, or checking on his re-rack situation.
He has 2 left, as you can see, the 2 slashes underneath his name, and he's going to utilize one of them right now with that 30-pin lead and take some time. I think this might be a mental timeout, if anything.
It might be. I think you made a great point in that, you know, last week was last week, although not a whole lot has changed this week. Using the same equipment he used last week, playing relatively the same place on the lane that he played last week. The biggest difference, he's got more mistake room.
His 6th strike of this match, and his 15th of the day.
Well, he hasn't missed the pocket in almost 2 games. 260 first game, potential 259 this game.
Best Girard can do is a 229. Here he is down 30 to close out the 8th.
Good shot.
I'm going to take a re-rack.
And he's going to utilize a re-rack.
Well, that's interesting because I'm not even sure he looked at that rack before he got over to the left lane.
Not at all. He had that in his brain. Buy himself some more time.
Max score again for Patrick Girard, 229. Jesper's already at 229, working on a strike in the 8th.
I think he utilized this re-rack to, essentially as a timeout, Randy. He knows the value of this effort in the 9th. Needs a strike and gets it. That's why he re-racked, and that's why he's celebrating. And the pressure does spin to the Swede now.
It hasn't been a bad game for Patrick Girard. He's hit the pocket every shot, but a couple of errant shots that have affected his carry, but Jesper Svensson now controls his own destiny with a strike in the 9th and a strike in the 10th. It's game over, and he'll advance to the title to face Jakob Butturff.
Well.
Well, the only mistake for him this game has been that pin. He's left 3 of them. 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 7th, and 1 in the 9th.
Again, the pros 95% of the time drop this single pin spare. But we've seen some misses today. We saw some last week as well. Spares are not gimmies, but they're pretty darn close. Throw that one in, covers it up. Lead at 20 as we enter the 10th.
Strike spare, he shoots 229. Girard can strike out for a tie. If Jesper doubles here in the 10th frame and gets 1, he advances. And that was big because if he didn't strike on that ball, he could have lost. If he gets 9 and goes 9 spare strike, it's 228. Girard could have thrown 3 to win by 1. Instead, it's Jesper. 1 more for the win.
We got huge action from the sideboard on that one as well. That's one of the reasons scores have been so high throughout the week here in Shawnee. Strike here could just about seal it.
He needs to keep it on the lane and stay behind the foul line.
Good job, buddy. Thank you. Good job. Good job.
Girard essentially conceding right there. A strong close here by Svensson, just as Girard was sneaking his way back into this game, applied the pressure. The sturdy Swede stepped up, dropped strike after strike after strike. He moves on to our title match.
Keep it up.
9 strikes for Svensson. Yeah, dance it up, my friend. Good news.
All right, let's give it up for him. Go on. Good
Oh, look at
job.
this. Tremendous sportsmanship from our friend north of the border. And you know what? Now I'm extra happy that next week we're going to see Girard. He's going to be in our doubles show, teaming up with a fellow Canadian as well. It's like the Hart Foundation of bowling next week on the PBA here on FS1.
All right, thank you, guys. Thank you all.
Now, thank you. I hope we see more of the part-timer on the tour, and you're going to see him next week, Sunday, 1 Eastern, here on FS1, also streaming on the Fox Sports app. It's the Marshall Bowman Mark Roth PBA Doubles Championship. Girard will be there. Big smiles. He's done with a 218. Svensson moves on with the 21 pin victory. So our uninterrupted final is set. Svensson versus your #1 seed, Jakob Butturff. That plus Randy goes in search of more than just bowling at a bowling center next. 2019 PBA Oklahoma Open, the 34th PBA Tour event here in the Sooner State, 6th time here at Firelake. We encourage you to tune into FS1 for a huge super middleweight title fight coming up. Jose Uzgatagi defends his belt against the undefeated challenger Caleb Plant. That is live tonight, 6:30 Eastern on FS1 and on the Fox Sports app. All right, coming up now, it's today's installment of Go Bowling with Randy Peterson, and Randall is going to talk about the evolution of the bowling center and share with us some of his all-time favorite video games. Oh, brother.
You know, back when I was a kid growing up in Southern California, when we went to the bowling center, there was just bowling and maybe a couple of pinball games sprinkled in, along with my favorite game, Asteroids. But boy, how things have changed. Now we have family entertainment centers, so it's not only bowling, but it's full-service restaurants, laser tag, even movie theaters, and huge arcade and video rooms. Speaking of arcade games, it's a pretty good one right behind me. This is not the Space Invaders I remember.
I feel like you're a little, yeah, you're kind of playing catch up with that game, Randy. I don't know what these buttons mean.
Yeah, that was way above my skill level.
So many invaders, and why are they so fast now? Svensson taking care of Girard, 239-218 in our last match. Patrick Girard from Jonquière, Quebec, losing with the 218. As we take a look at our game summary provided by Strike Track.
You know, the thing that really stands out for me is just how accurate his location was, not only at the arrows, but at the break point. I'm talking about Jesper Svensson. You know, his ball speed was also impeccable, where he was right around 19.2, and then the last game, he was right here at that 19.5 mark. Every ball in the pocket, he threw the double in the 10th frame when he had to, and that's why he's in the title match.
It was good to have Girard around 5, make it 6 strikes in our semifinal. Great reactions after some of his how many times was he dancing and a little pump of that fist, my friend. And here is Patrick standing by live with Kimberly.
Thanks, Rob. So, Patrick, you did not have a bad match. You were hitting the pockets. It just seemed like you had bad carry. So what was happening out there?
I mean, yeah, I definitely had a great match today. I was feeling more comfortable. You know, you get on TV, you get a little more amped up, throwing harder a little bit, and they kind of seemed, you know, the oil went down the lane a little more, so my ball reaction wasn't all that great, but I mean, I had a great time out there, and you know, it happens when you bowl one game on TV, a couple frames, and you're trying to make moves. Unfortunately, they didn't pay off, but I'm still happy with my performance. 3rd place, I'll take that any day. Also, I want to thank Summer Bowling. Merci tout le monde à la maison. Steph, les enfants, Ryan, Derek et Dom Caro, je vous aime beaucoup. Merci pour tout le support.
Well, I have no idea what you said, but I'm excited to see you again next week in the doubles match as well. Great sportsmanship out there today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Kimberly.
I know what he said.
What? Tell me.
He said, I want to thank everybody back home, and I'd also like to thank Rob Stone for coming back to the PBA Tour.
He was thanking his sons Ryan and Derek for watching, Stephanie for supporting him, as we take a look at our updated Stepladder bracket here at the PBA Oklahoma Open. Svensson, remember last week, finished 4th. This week, it's either going to be 1st or 2nd. Butturff, for the 3rd straight tournament, Randy, dating back to last season, enters as your #1 overall seed. Had some big bugaboos last week in Arlington, but he's the kind of kid that can quickly and adeptly move on from those type of reverse steps.
Yeah, no, I mean, the big question is going to be, how much has Jesper Svensson's 2 games influenced his ball reaction?
That's good. I like that because I actually got that.
Yeah, you can hear him right now. He likes what he's seeing so far from his warm-up. So your 2nd title match of the new year comes up next, and it is commercial-free. Can Butturff put aside last week's stumbles to win his 5th career crown? PBA on Fox is sponsored by Go Bowling. For promotional offers, tips to improve your game, news, or to locate a bowling center near you, just log on to gobowling.com. We welcome you back to Shawnee, Oklahoma. Title time here at the 2019 PBA Oklahoma Open. Standing room only crowd here at Firelake Bowling Center. Jesper Svensson, your 3 seed, set to take on number 1 seed for the 3rd straight tournament. Jakob Butturff, the 24-year-old from Tempe, Arizona, 4 career tour titles. 2 of them came last season. Both these guys with so much power. Svensson, the only one, though, with a major win combined. They have 11 tour titles. That number will swell to number 12 in the next 20 minutes or so. And Jakob, yeah, he's antsy, and he admits that to us, and he likes to walk around during the broadcast, and he likes to do this now, playing with the infinity cube, keeps him focused on the moment, right, Kimberly?
Yes, that's what Jakob has told me, that this helps keep you calm. Now, what exactly is it, Jakob?
This is a infinity cube. Just kind of keeps me in the focus mode. I've used it to start 2019. It's been a successful 2019, and hopefully I can continue that rolling.
Well, you have to be focused. This is your 3rd time as the number 1 seed. You're going for your 5th PBA Tour title, so how do you make it happen today?
Just got to go up there and make the best shots I can. Jesper is bowling phenomenal so far this Stepladder, and I know he's been striking a lot, and hopefully I can have a better outcome of the game today.
Any change in your process for today since you're going up against Jesper?
A little bit more surface on the bowling ball, and hopefully I can knock down a couple more pins than him.
All right, good luck to you both, guys.
He's got a fan in the crowd, doesn't he, Randy?
He does.
Here's Butturff at the 60th anniversary classic last January. How about that fall?
That doesn't hurt. That doesn't hurt any, as he took down Marshall Ked.
He's going to start this one sitting down. Svensson comes up. And here's his opening statement. Are you kidding me?
First thing that was going through my mind was how Jesper's ball reaction was going to be affected as soon as I heard Jakob say he used more surface. So during practice, he was sanding his urethane bowling ball to try to get it to do whatever he wanted it to do, and that had to dry up the front part of the lane for Jesper Svensson. And sure enough, first ball right through the face, leaving the big 4.
The PBA Tour spare conversion average for the big 4, 4, 6, 7, 10, 1%. It's only been done on television one time. Walter Ray Williams Jr. back in 05. That crowd, get into it. So this is going to be a little break here. Svensson has to stew on his opening shot even longer. While we wait, we remind you later today, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, Eagles, Saints divisional playoff game in New Orleans. Foles versus Breeze.
St. Nick, can he pull off another miracle?
Are you kidding me, right?
Amazing.
So there we go. Now they get the big 4 set up. 4, 6, 7, 10. Locked and loaded. And swiped away.
And swiped off. Yeah. Now you can hand set it. And here's going to be the determining outcome of this match, in my opinion. Jesper Svensson's going to make the adjustment off of this shot. If it works, he'll be fine. If it doesn't, he'll run out of frames.
Right. Remember, only 4 bowlers have ever been number 1 seed in 3 consecutive events. Petragula, Anthony, Walter Ray Williams Jr., and now Butturff. Butturff, though, could become the first to ever lose 3 straight as a 1 seed. And after that long wait, here comes the big 4.
And that's kind of a mistake as well, just taking one off of the big 4, which gives him 7 in the first. But better there than on a 3 or 4 bagger.
Best place to do it, unless you've already won. So here's Butturff. Chance to make an early statement in the Player of the Year race. Unorthodox delivery, drops all 10.
He's playing much farther to the right than Jesper Svensson is, and this can only create more friction and get in the way of what Jesper was doing for 2 games.
Remember that really unique delivery because of that. They call it a double jointed wrist. I don't know how double jointed it is, but boy, it is flexible and strong. 7.
2 of the most unique players on our tour, regardless of which hand they throw it with. And I mean, they couldn't be more different, and they couldn't be more different than the rest of the players out here.
Are we going to have a spare flashback, Randy? Remember, missed 2 spares in the title match last week.
And I believe he missed the 7-pin in the second frame.
And again, they're going to have some re-racking issues here. So, like Svensson had to sit and stew in the first, now Jakob is going to have the same pleasure here in the second. Well, this really tests your mental capacity early in a title match.
Hey, they're machines, and sometimes they get a little finicky. There you go.
Yeah, we have a
best
person
thing you
in the back just cleaning them out.
That's what they used to do back in the day. Get the hook.
I love it. Hook 'em. So great. What's your job? I'm the hook 'em guy in the back. Bit. There we go. All right.
Look out.
He misses it again for the second straight week.
Oh, now it's definitely in his head.
You used the word inexplicable last week, and it's appropriate. 93% of the time on the tour, that single pin conversion is dropped, and he's missed it twice on television in 7 days. You think he's having some bird box flashbacks? Remember, he made fun last week after missing those spares, doing the bird box challenge, covering up the eyes, throwing the spares. Not so funny right now. I admire him for being able to move on last week, but the fact that it happened again, Randy, this is insane.
Well, he's going to show us a lot in the next few frames about just how mentally tough he is after that. Hopefully he wasn't looking at any of the monitors when that bird box came back up.
And look, Svensson is going to show you something too. He opened up the big 4 in open frame 7 in the first.
So what's happened is Jakob Butturff has dried out his line to the pocket. Using a lot of surface on his urethane bowling ball has dried up the front part of the lane, and now Jesper Svensson's ball is overhooking. He's going to make an adjustment. He probably factored that into to start this match. He just didn't factor in enough. He has to make a bigger move.
Some noise in the
Jesus, how we
background.
doing here, fellas?
Okay, now we're seeing him rattled a little bit.
He heard something in the crowd, but
we heard it. We heard
Sure.
it all. But you couple that, Randy, with the problems with the pin setting in his earlier frame. There's a lot of things compounding right now on him.
A lot of distractions going on right now.
There's your conversion rate on the PBA Tour of the 2-4.
So, Rod, the adjustment he's going to make is he's going to move his feet and his target right. He just looked over at Callahan and said, more right, more right. And then he asked how much. He's moving 2 and 2 right. 2 boards with his feet, 2 boards with his target.
Svensson still without a strike here in our title match. We begin the third.
There you go.
That one's over 600 if you look at the RPMs right there.
Make your move over here, move your 2 over here, make 2 and get a good shot.
Just get sick of his stupid cubes.
Don't worry about it. I understand. Repeat the
Yeah, but I keep hearing it all the time.
Yeah, I understand.
Butturff drops it in the 3rd. I feel like, Randy, I heard Svensson over say, I hear him playing with that cube, that infinity cube.
That's exactly what he said.
And look, when there's music playing and people are clapping and cheering throughout your match, a little cube playing doesn't bother you. But when it is dead silent, like it's gotten multiple times here in Shawnee, anything will disrupt you. Ball change here for Butturff for the 4th. Worked nicely.
And that looks like he went to reactive resin on the left lane. He's staying with urethane on the right lane.
And he's going to take a walk away now, and he's going to talk to his ball rep.
Just let that one go. Keep throwing good shots. Good ball change.
Quick change for him, and it's only because he left that soft 7.
Balls, that's your sweetheart. It's hard to put it down sometimes, but that's the right move.
Needs to move in a little bit more on that lane, but that's a terrible break, leaving the 6-8.
That is an incredible pickup.
Got 19% on the Pro Tour. That is made. Great job by Jesper Svensson to stay in it early.
That is your hammer tough spare replay. Remember this one a little later in the match, in the 4th. An amazing pickup from the Swede. So many forces have gone against him here in the title match, and he gets that break. Now what can he do with it to start the 5th? Sweep him.
Well, he's just one move away from putting some strikes together, and that's on the right lane. But Jakob Butturff looks like he's dialed in now, using urethane on the right and reactive resin on the left. He's going to a cleaner, more responsive down lane reaction on that left lane. Let's see if it pans out. Looks like he's locked in on the right lane.
Three strikes, but that open frame in the 2nd looms large. 4th strike of the match. The lead goes to 21.
Well, he's showing a lot of moxie after whiffing that 7 pin in the 2nd to come back like he did, to have his wits about him enough to make the ball change in the 4th frame. Let's see if that ball change holds up on this lane. Yes, sir. Snaps the 7 out. And Rob, how many in a row is that now?
That'd be 4, my friends.
Okay. Otherwise known as a
4-bagger.
Perfect.
It's interesting, we were talking with him yesterday. He said, my goal is to answer my questions before I have the chance to ask them, which sounds like something you might find out of a fortune cookie, but he's trying to be a little bit forward thinking on all his moves.
I think this is a must strike for Jesper. Beauty.
Chris Skillings, Director of Health Services, a citizen Potawatomi Nation in attendance here. Appreciate him being here. Got a couple Hall of Famers in attendance watching this one too. Mark Roth, Marshall Holman are here. Svensson working off his first pair, looking to drop a 3-bagger here in the 7th. He's down 21.
Look out.
Messenger went.
My.
through the front door, but couldn't knock it down.
Again, he ran into the turbulence created by the practice prior to the start of this title match from Jakob Butturff. Pin goes in front of the 6. Not very lucky. And not what he was looking for. These two players have never faced each other in a title match.
Butturff just 1 of 4 on television, Randy. Leader since round 3 of qualifying. Was essentially your leader all the way through the title match last week until he lost that one. Gets a strike there in the 7th. So the lead now swells to 32.
Great recovery by Jakob so far.
5 in a row since that open frame in the 2nd. Three-time member of Team USA, as you see his TV title match record.
What a ball change, and what a recovery from a disastrous 2nd frame.
Just stay focused, keep doing it.
And again, Butturff quickly walking away from the lanes. Told us he struggles sitting down on television, super antsy. Tries not to overanalyze things, so he just walks away, talks to his rep. Svensson steps up. This guy can't buy a break today, in this match at least.
Well, he lost his look, and again, that's because of what Jakob did, and Jakob didn't do anything wrong. I mean, all he did was create a look for himself, and unfortunately, we see that with the Southpaws from time to time when they kind of get in each other's way. They're used to being out there on an island by themselves.
So why is it working for Butturff but not working for Svensson then?
Butturff's a little softer ball speed, and he likes to shape it more.
Another open frame.
He likes to go around the pattern a little bit more, use a little bit more angle. Jesper likes to go a little straighter.
Best he can do is a 201, down 57. 2nd straight week on television. It looks like for the 2nd straight week he will not have a title, but this will be his best finish in some time. It's a frustrating 2018 for him. Slipped to 14th in earnings, 26th in average, failed to win a title. It's all 10 there. His last title was the 2017 Cheetah Championship in Reno. The Iceman is angry.
Well, he's frustrated and not very happy with what's turned into an ugly ball reaction for him after having a really good one.
On the flip side, Butturff, 7 in a row.
Pretty impressive. You know, this young man actually won 9 regional events in 2016 as a record. This match is officially over. Jakob Butturff, he wins for the 5th time out here.
Mentioned he's going to dedicate this win to his grandfather Ken, passed away recently. He's saying Grandpa Ken, not just family, but a hero, has a forearm tattoo on that right arm. Grandpa served 22 years in the Army. Jakob talking about the value, the importance of family to him yesterday to us. And he wins that trophy for Grandpa. The emotions, yeah, starting to kick in a little bit there, Randy.
You know, he's a nice kid, and you could say what you want about his bowling style, but this young man knows how to bowl, and he strikes. I'm not sure are too many that outstrike Jakob Butturff when he gets it going. And that's why he led this tournament. He out-averaged everybody by at least 3 pins a game. But what a turnaround after the disastrous second frame.
Oh, you're right. Not only that, but a disastrous title match last week.
Yeah.
He's in the books with a 267, matching the high score for the day. Svensson gets a strike, which may provide some solace. Yep, looking up to Grandpa. Don't worry, Grandpa Ken's proud of you. Good to see Svensson get a little spitter there. Strike that one. He's off to head back home tomorrow. He's going to be away from the tour till early February. He's actually going to practice, do some bowling in the Swedish league, one of the top leagues over in Europe. Watch out for Svensson come February.
Well, he's been bowling great to start this year.
He finishes second to that man, Jakob Butturff. Take it and lift it, young man.
Screw Grandpa Ken. Ball looks back home. Did it. We did it. Thank you, everybody. Have a night. EFX, Bowler X. Thank you.
Jakob, very emotional win for you today. Let's talk about that second frame to start off with. Were you having flashbacks when you missed that spare from last week?
Oh, there was definitely a lot of flashbacks, but we had a strategy that if I was going to 7-pin the first ball, we'd make the immediate ball change, and thankfully it was able to pay off this time.
Now, how did you brush that off? Because starting in the third, you just boarded the straight train and took off from there.
There was a lot of strikes thrown this week, and with the smallest open, it could affect you the rest of the game. So I knew with how Jesper was bowling, I would have to strike still as much as I could.
I know that you have dedicated this win to your grandfather, so tell us what he meant to you and why you did that.
Growing up, whenever my parents would go out, I would go with my Grandma Judy's and my Grandpa Ken's, and with the late passing of him, I felt like this one would definitely be an honor to him.
You honored him very well today. Congratulations on this win.
10 total strikes, including 9 in a row starting in the third frame. The 24-year-old has made quite a statement on the tour already this season. 2 events, 2 times as a 1 seed, and finally as the champion. His 5th career PBA Tour title for the lefty from Tempe, Jakob Butturff. 267-201, your final. Make sure to join us for our next PBA telecasts. Coming away next Sunday, the 20th, 1 p.m. Eastern. It's the Mark Roth Marshall Holman PBA Doubles Championship from right here in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Again, next Sunday on FS1 at 1 Eastern. Butturff, for the 3rd straight tournament, was your #1 seed. This week, he wins it. Career Tour title #5 for the 24-year-old Butturff. On his way, maybe, to a little Player of the Year type campaign.